Good evening. How are you all doing? I wish I had some music I could play and then that would yeah, there we go. All right, good deal. Thank you very much. This is just three, so I think we can go a little faster. Were you all here for the District 7 candidates? Oh, I'm gonna change the questions up on you. Okay. All right, let's jump in. Just a reminder, Amaya is going to take the time, so please pay attention to Amaya. You have 1 minute to respond to the question, and then when we do the lightning round, you'll have 30 seconds. Actually, we're gonna make that 15 seconds. 15 seconds to respond to the lightning round, okay? And just for folks' edification, to my left, we have Antonio Lewis. Then we have Stephanie Flowers. Then we have Delvin Davis. Did I do that right? Yes. Okay, jumping in. Our first question. What do you believe is the biggest barrier preventing Atlanta DOT from delivering safe and timely mobility projects? And how would you fix it? Let's start with Antonio.
Yeah, so thank you for the question. So I think the biggest problem, I've been extremely loud about what the biggest problem has been: lack of staff. If you look at the city of Atlanta, ATL DOT, what they always say is it's a new department. And that's what they always say, it's a new department. But to me, if you compare it to other departments of other cities that are of the same size, it's time that we double. It's time that we double, maybe triple our staff. Every single year when ATL DOT comes in to the budget request, my request is, do you have enough to get your job done? And their response is yes, but my response to them is, I know you don't. And so the goal is to get ATL DOT, to get the administration to invest in ATL DOT, to double the staff so they can actually get the job done.
Good evening. Stephanie Flowers, candidate for Atlanta City Council District 12. I was ditto what Antonio just said. Is one is staffing, but also is project management. How the projects are being timed out to happen, and to make sure that we have all of the resources and supplies that we need to make that thing follow through.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Delvin Davis, candidate for Atlanta City Council District 12, and I have to echo some of those sentiments as well. Of course, we know we need the personnel in order to build our city. I think we have to be a little bit more intentional when we're just saying that there's low personnel. We don't have accountability at City Hall. I think our Department of Transportation, we're not delivering on our services because we're not holding everyone accountable. So I think accountability in conjunction with personnel will allow us to get deliverables with the Department of Transportation.
Thank you so much. The next question is, how would you ensure students and young people have safe, accessible, affordable options to get to school, work, and play? And we can start with Stephanie in the middle, and then you can work your way to the left.
I would ensure that they have safe sidewalks, being able to walk the sidewalk. If they want to have bike lanes so they can ride their bikes, but also being able to, if they wanted to ride MARTA, having access to riding MARTA. I heard about MARTA bus tokens. I was one of those babies, but how do we be able to help them get the funding they need to ride MARTA and public transportation, whether it's MARTA or Uber or Lyft? Make sure those things are funded for them to be able to do so and have access to safe streets to do the walking that they want to do.
Your left.
How you want to go?
To your left.
I got you. Thank you. No, you're actually absolutely correct. But if you look nationally, there's a increase in funding in safe routes to schools. And so what we've been able to do on the South Side in District 12 is make it to where we reached out to ATL DOT to find out which schools were the worst when it comes to the impact injury network. We found out, because that means those are the schools they were going to address first, and then we invested in the schools that they weren't going to invest in. And so in District 12, every single middle school gets safe routes to schools, but also if you look at our top 4 elementary schools, where Cleveland Avenue Elementary School, Hutchinson Elementary School, Gideon's Elementary School, they're all going to get the same exact resources because they were next on the, and Humphreys as well. They were all going to get those resources because they were next on the list. And what we were able to do is use discretionary funding that the last council member just left. So we took $125,000 and we put it in safe routes to schools specifically. And District 12 would be the first district in the city to have all these middle schools to have that. But then our elementary schools will come right behind that. And if you look at the sidewalk projects that are coming up to our high schools to connect them to the Beltline, we'll get that as well. So the goal is to make sure it's equitable this time.
And I would also add to that, of course, we need to ensure, one, that we invest in our infrastructure. Safe Routes to School is a part of that, but also partnering with APS and other schools, as well as the county, to ensure that students are able to afford getting to school. I myself, growing up in Pittsburgh, Atlanta, right down the street, I took the 83 bus. Well, I actually took the 1147 during that particular time, and then went to Oakland City, got on the 83 and went to Thurl High School. And every single day I had tokens or I had a model card. And so being a magnet student, that afforded me those opportunities. But oftentimes our students don't have that opportunity. And so one, we do have to build out our infrastructure to make it a little bit safer so that we can have multi-mode ways of getting to our schools, but not only our schools, but our workplaces where we're able to do that inside of our communities as well. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to actually ask a question that we received from the audience. Don't break it. And let's start with Stephanie. Actually, you started that last question, didn't you? Okay, why don't we start with Delvin? Name the TADs in District 12 and one transportation project you'd like to see in each TAD.
Ooh, in each TAD. Okay, well, the Beltline TAD, I would like to see light rail around the entire Beltline. We do have, so the Campbellton Road TAD touches our district as well. And I would definitely like to see that corridor built out a little bit better, from complete streets design and ensuring that we're delivering on our BRT on that side as well. The additional TAD, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be the Metropolitan TAD. That's also touches my district as well, District 12, and that street needs to be completely built out. Of course, a major transportation project that we're currently developing in that particular corridor, we just need to deliver on. And so that's what.
Okay, thank you. Antonio?
Can you re-ask the entire question, please?
Name the TADs, the tax allocation districts in District 12, and one transportation project you'd like to see in each.
So Beltline, Campbellton, Metropolitan, and Stadium, which is just the northeast. The Beltline, I would try to do the gondola because the gondola is a cheaper option, and it's actually something I took to ATL DOT and to MARTA to see if they can do it. It's like when you go to Vegas and you get on and it's something that they're doing overseas actually to connect countries. And so something that I was looking at, the gondola, Campbellton Road, I would look at the light rail down Campbellton. I know that I stopped going to Greenbrier Mall the moment they put the train that takes me to Lenox. Who wanted to wait on the 88 to get back? And that's something that a lot of my friends talk about. We talk about the base, the tax base that stopped going to Greenbrier the moment that they gave us the train to take us to Lenox. So I want to look at light rail down Campbellton Road, which is something I've been loud about. Metropolitan Parkway, try to get as much food and retail as possible on the street. I think that we're seeing some of the growth and to continue to bring as much affordable housing in places where we don't have to displace people. Stadium, the goal would be, Stadium, I feel like they're using that in the right way, but I want to create one. I've tried to create one since I've been elected. I've tried to create one on the south side that connects it to Jonesboro Road and the connection of the Beltline TAD all the way to Browns Mill Golf Course.
Thank you.
So I think the TADs has been mentioned. So I would start with the Metropolitan TAD. That one is just making sure that we have better public transportation on Metropolitan and down Cleveland, and even going to the MARTA station, making sure they're accessible, but also making sure that the making sure that along with the tag, with the transportation, making sure that they are accessible for people to be able to stand and wait on the transportation. That's the Metropolitan. The Camilton Road one, that as long as I've been around, that's been a concern for the residents on that side. So making sure that they get the public transportation that they want, the BRT coming down Camilton Road, making sure that someone is there and held accountable for making sure that that happens should be one. And then the Beltline, like we talk about Beltline Rail, we need to get that going. So how do we do that with the Beltline tag as well?
Thank you. The next question is, if elected, how will you ensure that youth have a real voice in shaping Atlanta's transportation policies from street design to budget priorities? And we can start with Antonio and go to
I feel really good about that because I've actually done it. When I got elected, I actually hired a person who he was actually the president of all APS schools. He was the person over the APS Equity Board. And so we hired him into our office, and what we've done is that safe routes to school. If you look at all of our middle schools getting funding, I even worked with Councilmember Winston to make sure Price, which does not sit in our district, could get the same funding. And we're trying to find and make sure he actually did it because we did it in the council meeting. But the goal has been to do as much equitable and make sure we all can see it. For example, South Atlanta High School is the only high school in the city of Atlanta that does not have not only a sit-down bus stop that we had to put there, but the only high school in the city that does not have sidewalk on both sides. We got that done within 4 years, and we're about to connect South Atlanta High School to the Atlanta Beltline right now. And so I feel really good about that. And that's all worried about youth getting back and forth, and Tyrese Miller has been the person that lead it. So that's people from that group, and we have 2 more people hired on our staff. One more goes to Harvard. She graduated from that same time period, and every single year we've hired somebody from our high school to work into our office, every year.
Thank you. You go, Seth.
So how would I engage youth voice? I think there are a lot of opportunities and a lot of organizations that are out here to engage. So one would be the APS Student Advisory Council, which is an advisory council that's made up of students across APS. And then the second one is what the city controls, the city parks and rec. How do we engage those youth programs and those youth that are participating in those programs to give input around transportation because they know? And then looking at other youth-led organizations across the district to get their voices into the conversation, but also going to social media, getting those youth to tell us how do we utilize social media to get their voices better, and not just high school students. I think that, elementary school students as young as in the 3rd grade can be able to give their voice on how they see their transportation in their communities looking. So I would look at all of those, but also just looking inside of the community where some of the kids don't even utilize none of those services. So how do we get those kids and get their voices into the space as well?
I would also utilize advisory boards. In addition to advisory boards, I also think that what would be economically feasible for us on the south side of Atlanta is not only get our kids and our youth involved in designing and constructing the very streets that they know best, but also giving them the opportunities to those individuals who would like to help build our roads. We constantly talk about, economic mobility on the south side. We constantly talk about what we need to do in order to enhance our workforce training. But we're not talking about actually getting our youth and our kids involved. Some of our youth and our kids are breadwinners in some of their households. They're bringing in funds to their parents. And so, of course, they're going to be a part of the conversation and helping us build our infrastructure, but also getting them involved in actually building our infrastructure.
Thank you so much. So now we're going to move into our lightning round. The rules are the same as the first, but however, the major difference is you'll only have 30 seconds to respond to this. 15. Where you had a minute last time. So again, just look to Amaya. She'll give you your cards as your pointers, and then I'll move on to the first question. We can start with, we might as well start with you, though. Okay, the first question is, what is the #1 transportation/mobility challenge you feel is facing your district?
Infrastructure.
Perfect. We can move on to you, Steph.
Infrastructure. I went, name a different one. I would say, I our our streets, metropolitan potholes, something that's different. I think the accessibility for walking accessibility is not good in District 12. But mainly it is infrastructure. That's not a fact that we just repeating after each other. Infrastructure is an issue in District 12.
You can go, Antonio.
So I would like to take the same kind of same.
Infrastructure?
Thank
Okay.
you. The answer for me would be first rocky roads. If you ride through certain parts of our district, you think you're in a third world country. So we actually have rocky roads in our area. The second part would be gaps in the sidewalk, gaps in sidewalks and rocky roads.
Thank you. The next question is, when was the last time you took MARTA or another non-car mode to get somewhere? You start, Stephanie.
So I took MARTA in September twice because I lost my luggage. I went to the airport, so I took MARTA to the West End train station, 95, and then I took the train to the airport and came back.
Thank you.
And I'll tell you, I've been forced to drive lately, but I would take my scooter to work about 4 days a week. So living on Jonesboro Road and driving down to Trinity, 55 Trinity on my scooter until I fell off of it and my wife told me I couldn't ride it because I actually chipped one of my teeth and messed up a few things, but I actually am a scooter rider.
So recently, I think it was riding a train to Lenox, I do believe. But prior to, I think this last week, I rode the 83. I wanted to ride it down to Thorough, and then I came back, and then we canvassed the area. So that was the last time I did it.
Thank
So a
you.
week ago.
Let's see, I'm trying to change this up a little bit. Give me one word that describes Atlanta's current transportation ecosystem. What's the one word that comes to mind when you think about transportation in Atlanta? And why don't we start with you, Stephanie?
Major congestion. I think
That's two words.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. Congestion. Congestion.
Whoever wants to go next. Antonio, you're deep in thought. Come on.
Because it's hard to say one word. Needs improvement. I'm gonna do two like her. Needs improvement.
Y'all are great at following instructions.
Can you repeat the question?
Name one word that comes to mind when you think of Atlanta's transportation ecosystem. One word.
Promise.
Promise. Okay, that's very esoteric. All right, let's do one more. And I think you heard this one before. What is the boldest transportation idea that you would champion on council if you knew that you had the votes and the mayor would not veto it? Why don't we start with you, Antonio?
Yeah, I've done it. It's the gondola. It was when the city of Atlanta got away from light rail on the Beltline. I knew that, well, I was hoping that they would find the funding. When they got away from light rail coming down Cleveland Metropolitan, when they got away from it down Campbellton, I looked into the gondola.
The gondola. Okay, next.
If I could take one swing and the mayor would not veto it and it'll actually pass, I would say dedicated lanes throughout the city.
Dedicated lanes for,
Bike, bus, different modes of mobility. I think we need dedicated
Okay.
lanes, and that would be me. That would be me.
okay. Red?
You asked after she put up the. Oh, I'm sorry, Regina.
I would say doing the streetcar across the city. The streetcar.
Okay, so a return to the Atlanta of the past. All right, now let's move into a couple of audience questions before we wrap up. This is an interesting one. How do you plan to overcome public distrust regarding transit and equity in city development? And some examples that they have laid out here: project delays, studies, but no actual movement. So those are two examples of where there has been a gap in public trust. How would you overcome that? And you have a minute for this question.
Okay, so in District 12, I think how we improve trust with dealing with a host of issues, but namely transportation, since we're talking about transportation, is we have to show up. I think people will trust us if we have these conversations throughout. Constantly show up, even when we disagree with each other, we're constantly showing up. And that's going to help us build trust in the process, and everyone will be along for the ride. So I think that will be.
The question is, how do you plan to overcome public distrust regarding transit and equitable city development? And examples where there has been public distrust is project delays, or there have been studies but no actual development.
I think it's perfect. I think it's more around with project delays is around project management with the company that is going to be doing the development. But it's also keeping the word about what we talked about before the project got started, keeping true to what we said and making sure the community voice is in the conversation and not changing up as we get in the middle of the process and we start to doing the work and digging in the grounds and we want to change up something. So I would say project management, making sure that we hold true to our timeline. If something changed, communicate it to people, using the information that is gathered from the community around that project, using that information so that they can see it when the development begins to happen and not get something different after it happens. We have that right now going on in our MPU, so I want to make sure we have it. Yeah, we do.
And I appreciate you repeating the question. So transportation, what we've done since I've been elected is actually the audit. We actually audited moving Atlanta forward. Well, we found out because nobody did that before. And reason why I never saw an endorsement of my previous councilman because they wouldn't do it. We audited and we found out they used less than 2% of the funding. And that was District 2 and District 12. That's something Councilmember Mirfaroki and I talked about. And so one of the things I've done since that audit is we did public-public partnerships. The first public-public partnership of its kind is the partnership with MARTA and the City of Atlanta ATL DOT, in which they're doing 3 projects in the City of Atlanta. They're doing Metropolitan, Cleveland Avenue ART. They're doing the Ralph David Abernathy Central, and they're also doing sidewalk on Cleveland Avenue. So the goal is to get public-public partnerships until we can build some CIDs. What they've done in District 2 was they went to their CIDs. We didn't have any CIDs in our district to do that, so we did our public-public partnership. But that's something I learned while working on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our District 12 candidates. We're going to now start to transition on to District 2. Thank you.